when we last left the party.
Am I able to open up any of these books? Can I write property of Philippe?
There is an elderly dwarven lady propped up on a staff. She reaches her hand up and she makes a beckoning motion. This is the Contessa.
Philippe's gonna be like holding the book.
Both of their jaws open unnaturally wide, and a series of long black tendrils erupt forwards and try to grab at you all. A drow man wearing a long grey cloak that you recognise from the beggar.
I'm so sorry you've got wrapped up in all of this.
What is all of this?
It's a mind control effect. If we hadn't got to you, you would have just wound up mindless thralls to their cause.
Theb grabs the arm of Phalark just before Phalark leaves.
I don't like you. I'm not going to like you. We're not going to be friends. The fact that you know these books exist, and the fact that the Sanctum know you know, makes you targets. They mean that you and everyone you know, those people are not safe. The fact that you know these books exist, and the fact that the Sanctum know you know, makes you targets. They mean that you and everyone you know, those people are not safe.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Whack-A-Roll. My name's Luke 2, Luke in the big city, because I've moved flat.
Hi everyone, my name's Tom. I play Phalark, and I'm full of hot D&D juices and ready to burst.
Ew. Oh no, I did not. I feel gross following that. But,
It's like a bin liner filled with juice.
Alright, hi everyone, I'm Dora D. I am forever ill, and I play the smallest boy, Philippe.
And I'm Al, also known as Roasty Toasty, the three-legged horse, and I play Yaga.
Now
Where
hold
the
on.
fuck do you come up with half of this shit?
I sit with a document and just get the shit out. Also, that one's from my childhood.
Okay, so last week we did our first Caravan Slumber Party episode.
Last week.
Yeah, okay, it's been like a month or two since we recorded. I was just going to go with last week because that's when the audience thinks, Al.
No, it's
Christmas
not.
happened.
For them, it will be 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, it'll be 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago we did our first Caravan Slumber Party episode. And at the end of it I said that you guys were going to get an individual scene each, where you will be following up on a little bit of, like, in essence, Harper has suggested that you go get any affairs in order and you can take one of the caravan members with you. So we're going to just go around the circle, same order we did in the very first episode. So we're going to start with our good boy Philippe.
Good push.
Hello.
He's dumb and fat.
He's not that dumb, he's below average.
But he is fat now.
He's in fact
He's
back.
He's got puppy fat. It's winter.
And you
it's
force-fed
cold.
him good berries.
Yeah, he was doing it. He was doing it to try and help you guys, and all you do is be mean to him.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what's Philippe doing?
Philippe is gonna go home and see his auntie, and like even give her some money for that he's made so far.
And do you want to take along with you one of the caravan members?
Ooh, I would like to take Lulu May. I feel like they got on really well.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
I like that as well. Okay, so you take Lulu May with you, and I think that Philippe's small enough that Lulu has her own horse, a pretty like beefy stallion. I think like regal white. Like I hate the fact this is the reference I'm getting in my head, but like when Donkey turns into a horse in Shrek 2, I'm imagining
God.
that, but just not Eddie Murphy.
Fuck off. Whose face is it CGI'd into a horse instead then?
No one.
Colin Firth.
Oh my god.
Colin, yes, is Colin Firth the horse?
Colin the horse.
So the horse is just a little bit beefier than normal because Lou is in and of herself like a full-bred orc. They're quite large creatures, a lot of muscle mass there. But there's enough room for like Philippe to squeeze on the back.
Oh, see, I'm getting whole sort of like Hobbit vibes where they're all sort of like all the hobbits share the horses. The rest of the Fellowship.
You are actually in the south of the country right now, the continent. You are, in fact, like probably the closest to Tayvale of all the cities, so it doesn't take you too long to get there. You end up traveling through the forests of Tayvale, the area around Tayvale even, and it takes you maybe 3-4 hours riding at a pretty good speed to arrive back home. When you get there, your Auntie Lenora is sitting on the porch outside with like a steaming cup, and when you approach, she stands up and nearly drops it and is like, Philippe, where have you been?
I went on an adventure, Mama. Not Mama. Ah, me too.
Whoa! Spoiler! Big reveal!
Hello, Auntie. I went on a big journey with Faylark and a Yaga, and I bring you coin. And Philippe is just going to be like rustling in his pockets and like holding out for my mishaps.
I think there's like a moment where, you went, I went on an adventure with Yaga and Philippe, and you're ruffling through your pockets to find coins, and Lou just sort of elbows you and just like,
Oh, and this is my new friend, Lulu May. Isn't she pretty?
it's a pleasure to meet you, and like puts her hand out, and like, that sort of like Oshante, like you're gonna like kiss the hand kind of way, and like Lenora kind of like shakes it awkwardly, just looking quite confused at the whole situation, because this is like, I think it's not Philippe's kind of like shtick that he brings back fully grown best friends, but you've just brought back a third fully grown best friend. And I think that, once the awkward handshake is over, Lenora, like, sees the coin that you're pulling out, and she's like, Philippe, where did you get all this?
Well, that is a very long story, Auntie. To put it simply, first, right, I need to think what's the story been. I'm trying to sum it up in Philippe terms.
Are you gonna tell her the whole truth?
Oh, yeah, he's just gonna blab it all. One point in the middle, he's gonna be like, I ate a lot of stuff and got really fat. So he's basically, like, he's gonna be like, well, to put it simply, and he'll just, like, go into a full story about it, like, chatting about all the little things, and especially mentioning, and I ate a lot of food.
Cloudy flashback montage.
Do you say, right, here's some really important questions. One, do you say, oh, I got force-fed by that elf that I was friends with? And two, oh, I kind of got naked around them.
Oh, God.
With magic bookcase.
Magic bookcase fucked shit up.
And then I spelled the word bear, but I think I spelled it wrong, because instead of a big fuzzy wuzzy, something else happened.
And I think Lulame is also just like totally engrossed in this story, because this will be the first time she's heard it too. And she's just like, what the fuck?
And it's like, and also, Auntie, this is from Faylark and Yaga. And he's going to get out a little letter and hand it over to Auntie Lenora.
Okay, what does the letter say?
We're sorry.
Lenora looks exhausted. And then, like, she's like, okay, so let me get this straight. You're going to live with Lulame, Yaga, Faylark who force-fed you food until you,
It was very yummy food, though.
Good berries.
That's lovely, dear.
Good berries.
So where does Barry come into this?
Barry.
I forgot who Barry was.
But we summoned Barry with the bookshelves.
Oh, yeah. Ah.
We created him.
We didn't. He already had a life.
Oh yeah.
He has a wife.
Yeah.
Or did by summoning Barry we just create his entire life around him?
Philosophy.
Depending on whether or not we believe in predetermined fate and destiny, maybe he was always born for that, and that's the only reason his wife and everything around him exists.
But Tom,
God.
maybe it's Maybelline.
You got me there.
I think that Lenora's kind of like, okay, what we're going to do is, Lou, would you love a cup of tea? And Lou's like, I would love a cup of tea. We're going to sit down. We're going to have a cup of tea. And I'm going to think about all of this. Philippe, if you want to do this, just pack your bags. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's certain that I'm going to let you go yet, but just.
See, Philippe being the kid he is, the moment that he's good, it's like one of those give them an inch, take a mile. He's going to be immediately like, oh, thank you, Auntie. I am so happy that you will let me live in the woods. I will go pack. I will write to you every single day. And if you want, I can help support you because you've done so much for me, Auntie. Oh, Auntie, I'm so pleased. Thank you.
Yep. And yeah, you dart off into your room. And I think that while you're packing your bag, you hear a lot of low discussion between Lenora and Lulame. I mean, low, even though they both have the most high-pitched, annoying voices, probably pierces every wall.
That's not how that works. Now let me explain to you. Low frequencies permeate solids better, and do you know how I figured this out? Look, Venel. Do you know how I worked this out?
Is this because once upon a time, I'm just going to put this in context for anyone listening, that you lived on the other side of a wall from me?
Yes, it may have something to do with that.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh.
It might have been from my low sultry voices penetrating
Jesus.
the wall.
He played games all goddamn night.
Yeah, it was great. I'm an adult. But
I'm an adult.
and I think the packing is going fine, and you're hearing the gentle clinking of mugs next door, and it's all going fine until you hear a loud bang.
Oh no.
Ruh-roh.
Fucking Tom!
That's a pop, not a bang!
He was popping the tension.
Right, Philippe is gonna scramble, scamper downstairs, see what on earth is going on.
Oh, there's an upstairs in this house.
I was just about to say.
No, it's cool.
2 floors.
I always imagined it as maybe 4 or 5 room house on the bottom floor, like a bungalow.
Yeah, so did I.
Oh, I imagine it's one of those really narrow sort of
This is where
jagged
headcanons
houses.
come to light.
Like a Weasley house kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of, but because I want him sitting at the top of the stairs, with his head through the banisters. I'm running to the first few steps at the top, and he's just gonna quickly shove his face in between the banisters, squidge his cheeks through,
Yep. Okay. I think what you see when you do that is Lulame flying backwards into the stairs, and they crack wood splinters underneath her bulk and weight, and she's drawn out her shovel, this bladed shovel that she was seen with previously, and she clocks you on the stairway. She makes eye contact with you and is like, Philippe, stay where it's safe. And then she kind of stands up and she runs back forwards with this shovel in hand.
Where's my auntie?
You do not see your auntie right now.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Right, so who's fighting Lulu then?
I think that with the way the staircase is, and just the fact you're poking your head down the banister, and especially because she fell on these stairs, you don't see anything yet. You'll have to maybe go into the room to see.
No, I'm going to, from his pocket, get out my familiar and use my find familiar spell. So out comes Otto the Possum.
We have not met Otto the Possum
No,
yet.
we haven't met Otto
I
the
didn't know
Possum.
you had a familiar as well.
Yeah,
I want a
he's
familiar.
a
Stop
boy. So I have a possum called Otto. He's a
Nice.
good boy. So yeah, so I'm gonna be like, Otto, I need you to go downstairs, find my auntie, see who Lulu May is fighting, see if I can fight that person too. Go. And sends the sends the possum off.
Yep. Find familiar lets you see through the creature's eyes. That's correct.
Can communicate telepathically. Oh, as an action, I can see through their eyes and ears. So I presume if I'm sitting there, I can.
Yeah, if you're just sitting there, then that's totally something you
Yeah.
can do. So yeah, you can see and hear what Otto sees. Otto scurries downstairs, and in this kind of I like to imagine the kitchen opens out into the front porch, and in the doorway there is a figure. The figure is a tall male wearing black robes with a hood up, and they're wearing a very simple paper, like folded paper mask that hides a lot of their features, but you can see kind of like two grey eyes behind it. And Lou is currently holding her shovel, but she's being restrained by a series of like floating magical chains that she can't really like break from. It doesn't seem that they're like hurting at all. It's just that they're restraining her, holding her in place, but she's struggling against them. There's no sign of Lenora. However, there is... Actually, could you please give me a perception check, and we'll use your stats for this.
Ooh, okay. There it is. Oh, jeez. Alright, it didn't fall off the table. Perception. 11.
11. Otto was given, a series of instructions. They were find Lenora, what's Lou fighting?
Yeah.
And Otto kind of like hops up onto one of the counters and scurries along the back of it. And there is, I think that Otto finds a broken mug on the ground. But there's spilled tea all over, but Otto doesn't see anything more.
Is it the mug that Philippe had made for his auntie Lenora?
Yep, totally.
It slightly leaked, but she loved it anyway.
That's when the figure clocks Otto.
Oh no.
I've said clocks twice now.
Clocks don't
Clocks don't exist in this world.
Also, in my head, like, to me, clocks means like hits it with something.
Is also a valid
yeah.
definition.
Bonks it.
But yeah.
He clocks Otto by the clock and cocks it.
What? Fucking that is a valid sentence, yes. What do you do?
Right, so Philippe, in his anger, is going to stick his head round the corner and question.
Fuck you!
Could I... So he's standing in the door frame, yeah?
Yep.
Could I reduce the door frame
Oh my.
so it encloses around this guy?
With what Dungeons and Dragons the rulebook says? No. With what Luke the DM says? Fuck yeah.
Yay! Cool. I shrink the door frame.
Okay.
Cool.
I think that the door frame like collapses on this gentleman, and he does two things. It kind of pins him around the waist as he falls, so his legs are outside the door, but his torso is very much still in the room.
I like to imagine his legs are like kicking, sort of like.
Yeah. Well, I totally think he's like struggling with it, and when he falls, he drops two things. One, he drops something golden that he instantly kind of like grabs at and pulls it back into his possession before you can really get a good look at it. And the other thing, his mask falls off, but he's still looking down, and this kind of like almost like this thick mop of like black hair kind of like drops out from underneath the hood. And I think that when he falls, the spell holding Lou kind of just shatters. And what she does is she grabs her shovel with one hand, bonks him in the back of the head, and then grabs you with the other arm, like just scoops you up and says, "Come on, Philippe, we're leaving." And then starts running towards another exit to the house.
Wait, little boy. There was something in his pocket.
I think at that point you hear like the figure moving from behind you, and like I think Lou's like, "We're not waiting around for this, dear. We are running." Do you want to fight against Lou kind of like just grabbing you?
I think he wouldn't want to go in on his own. Like, he knows he can't. If he can't convince her, and he doesn't want to just literally force.
If you want to try convince her to stop, you can give me a persuasion check.
Yeah, I'm gonna give her the puppy eyes. Oh, jeez. Right. So, right. You know when Shrek 2 came out, and like, as a kid, everyone's tried to do the Puss in Boots face, but it looks fucking awful. That's Philippe right now.
I think you're kind of like at this point just kind of like being dragged along, like almost like a hand holding situation, but like it's not particularly good. I think you pull that face, she looks at you and then just lifts you up over her shoulder so that she can't see you anymore.
Don't blame her.
And as she does so, you can now see behind her, and you see this gentleman like coming back. He comes into view. The door, like I think that maybe the situation meant you lost concentration on the spell, so the spell's effects end. And he's got the mask in one hand. He kind of looks up, and he sees you, and you see him, and you've seen him before.
Is it Barry?
Once in a painting. Not Rasmodius Camnol the Wizard.
Oh.
But in fact, you've seen this painting twice, really. Once when you summoned it, and then another time when Tom yeeted it at your face.
Oh!
Oh, it's attacked me again.
Yeah. The painting was of quite a pale gentleman. He had like this like kind of like thick black robes and like long slick black hair. The figure in front of you is very much the same person, except he looks a lot more gaunt. His skin is tighter to his bones. Like you can see, like cheekbones are more pronounced, and he's a lot paler, and he looks quite sickly almost. And he definitely sees you. And in one hand, he's holding this golden item again. Now I'll give you a choice. You're not going to get a chance to really clock a lot of details here. You can either give me an insight check. What?
Is my possum still there?
I think your possum scurried back in your pocket just before. Al, what are you laughing at?
I'm sorry. I was listening. No. I was listening to your description of what this guy looked like, and I'm like, oh, it's like Dorian Gray but in reverse, which is just a painting. I'm so stupid.
Oh, classic literature jokes.
The painting stays young forever whilst he may gain old. Truly it is a cursed item.
Oh, okay. So,
I was just thinking it sounded like a Kingdom Hearts character.
He's Noel Fielding.
We know.
Okay. So, you have a choice. I will either give you a perception check to see if you can spot what the item in his hand is, or an insight check to kind of get a gauge on his reaction.
I'm gonna do insight. Because I'm not very good at percepting things, as we just found out. Ooh, that was a 19.
Whatever's in his hand, you recognise with enough of what you've seen in the situation to be a magic focus. A spellcasting focus. So the item, like a wand, or the item that a wizard would use to cast his magic. He is in a prime position to strike you with a spell of some descript. But what you're gauging in the situation is that there's been a moment where he has seen this situation and he's frozen, and so he hasn't cast a spell. Something about what's going on here has meant that he was shocked enough that he didn't cast magic. And I think with that, I think Lou bursts out of a window, still holding you, shatters through a window with her shoulder and out to where the horse is stabled. And she very much like scoops you onto the horse, and there's yeah, and the horse like gallops off into the night, and you can see the figure running out. You see him flick the golden item, and maybe like a beam of light chases after you, but it fades, crackles into nothingness at a tree line as you and Lulame dart off into the distance.
I will save you, Auntie.
I think Lou kind of leans over and says, "I'm so sorry. We were just having tea, and the next second he was there, and she just she just disappeared, and it's like colored lights. She just sort of floated towards him. I'm so sorry."
It's okay, Lula May. We will find him. We will take him down, And I will get my auntie back.
And with that, I think we cut to Phalar.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Last time we kind of like left you, when we were doing your last solo scene, things did not end well between you and
Your ex.
Fitzpatrick. Your ex.
My ex?
You and Fitzpatrick, your gnomish friend.
Yeah, not particularly.
But I feel like maybe there's you're still heading up towards that area, the town of Moulton,
Yes.
This swampy town in the woods. Maybe part of you is kind of like pulling towards seeing him, Fitzpatrick. Some of you is kind of leaning towards like, oh, I've got loot stashed around that area, and I'm just going to kind of like get what's mine.
If I say yes to the second one, do I get more gold?
Well, we'll see. So, first of all, do you want to take someone else from the caravan with you?
I do, because I want to build on that, on like the character stuff. But I'm trying to figure out who I would take. Thing is, I'd love to take Iskar because that's my friend's character. But I can't think of a reason why I would. I think the only one that I can think of a reason for is Feb, and they hate me.
Do you? But you can also remember that Theb did say, you know, if Harper said that you were working together,
Yeah.
then Theb would always respect that.
I will say, yeah, I guess Phalark will have approached Feb and said that he's got some loot, he's got some suspicions that some of it might be magical. Do you want to check it out before I pawn it off and head back here? Because I ain't carrying it all.
That's my
I
job.
definitely think Theb kind of like snorts at you just a little bit, like huffs, and kind of talks to, and then like kind of like walks off to talk to Harper, and then eventually comes back outside to you, scoops up Kappa, who kind of like sits on her shoulders, and then is like, "Let's ride. I guess we'll do this."
I love her voice though.
I really like this voice for that character
Yeah.
as well.
Okay, so how are we travelling?
I think that she there's a couple more horses, I think. Or like, no, do you know what? Fuck it. I think that like it's sort of like a self-sustaining carriage,
A car?
except it's no. It's got two wheels and this little passenger car on the side
Oh
for it.
boy.
I'm thinking wooden motorbike.
Yay!
Because I just think that's really cool. And yeah, I think she kind of gets into it, and she kind of like puts down her little pink glasses, and then kind of taps them with a ring on her finger, and it kind of like morphs into like a pink visored wooden helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, "You're getting in that," and like nods to the passenger car.
Never seen one of these on the roads before, as he climbs in.
We're not making small talk. We're just going. And then she just kind of like, I think she just sort of like drives off, and it makes like a loud like almost like wind noise, which very much drowns out the ability to really talk. And you can understand instantly that that's very much her intention. There would have been horses around that place that you could have taken, but she wanted this one specifically because like it's loud enough that she will not have to talk to you for a while.
But that's fine, I've got podcasts to catch up on anyway.
What is a podcast in this world, Tom?
It's this sort of neat little magic trick they sort of teach kids, but it's kind of a fun party goof, and it's they're like pea pods which you can throw and they make little firecracker explosions. You cast the pods and then they
Oh my
kind of...
god. That's
So wait.
cute.
How are you catching up on these? Did you just have like a handful that you just needed to throw shit?
practicing my technique.
Okay, so I think you drive for a while, and you go through. So Suchau, the island, is shaped kind of like a plus, and you drive through the middle bit, and the middle bit is where the kind of like Great War of this land took place. So it's very non-populated. It's quite barren. It's very like open plains for a lot of it, with very little growing there. Quite disgusting, like muddy areas. With one single like set of mountains in the middle, which has like a kind of like memorial-based city built around it. That has a name, but Luke can't be bothered getting his notes up right now. And yeah, so you drive for quite a while through this until you arrive at a large wall that separates the north part of the country from the rest. And I think that Theb kind of slows the bike down near the wall and is like, I think that we need to talk about how wanted are you in up here? And you would recognize this wall as the one gate through is the Daleen Customs.
Oh, right, okay.
Ruh-roh.
I mean, considering he wore a mask most of the time.
And
As long as you don't wear the mask, you'll be fine.
Yeah. I wore a mask most of the time.
I think she kind of like she squints her eyes and says, "If you get me and Caps in trouble, we are going to have talks." And she kind of like lowers the helmet again and drives onwards. And I definitely think that...
Hang on, I've got to think that before we drive onwards. Okay, just like, okay, look, just for you, because I'm making an effort. And he'll take out of his satchel his travelling clothes, which is down here, which I imagine is like a very sort of nondescript cloak and hood and stuff like that. I'll dress down.
I think Theb's like, fine. And yeah, you get changed into these common clothes and you travel up to the customs. There's a bit of a queue, like a bit of a road blockage there while you get through. But you arrive at the gate itself, and I think that while you're passing through, nothing really happens. You're just declare why you're going. It's just like, she says family in Multon. And everything seems to go all right. She has official documentation. You've probably got documentation of some kind because this will be a route you travel, living near here. And there's definitely like a pause where, like, one of those like brief moments where you think something's going to go wrong. But after a while, you're kind of like nodded through the gate, and you drive the rest of the way to the town of Multon. And she stops just outside the town itself and is like, so where are we going?
Where do we leave this thing?
Anywhere.
Okay.
She said, I'll take it to the stables or something.
So imagine all these horses being confused by this strange wooden...
horse, motorbike.
Yes. It's the new version of Duck Duck Goose that we're trying to pitch. So Phaelite's going to just sort of like look around and make sure no one's paying particular attention to them where they are, and just say, keep close and follow me, and head into the tree line.
And she does. She keeps close. She keeps her head down.
And probably only walking for like 2 or 3 minutes, because we're not going to go too far, and we reach a sort of a gnarled old oak tree, and shoving aside some brush, Phaelite just is going to sort of ask for a bit of help and heave out a small, a medium-sized wooden chest.
I think you ask for help.
Yes.
And you reach in and you tug, and the chest flies out.
Oh.
Because it's a lot lighter than you remember.
Okay. Okay, so maybe I exaggerated how much we'd have here, but that'll be something. I think there's no key lock, I don't think. I think it's one of these like some sort of puzzle lock, which will quickly sort of just go through the combination of. It's probably something that you managed to like recover from, I don't know, maybe Fitzpatrick. I think you probably got it from Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, which is why when you go to solve the combination, it's already solved.
Oh shit! Now hold on a minute.
Theb's like, what's going on here?
He's going to open it anyway.
It's so empty.
Okay, so perhaps a lot less than we planned to come here for.
It's an empty box, Phalark.
To be fair, it's still quite a pretty box.
I think Theb is kind of like, done with your shit right now. And Theb kind of like looks at you and says, where is... What's happened here?
Well, for now, save the attitude. We've got some.
Go fuck yourself.
We have some visitations to attend to, I think.
Is this some sort of, like, personal beef that you've got?
Oh yeah, most likely.
Then you can deal with it yourself. I'll be with the motorbike.
Oh, but come on, you'll look so fun and threatening next to me. It'll make things a lot easier.
Is that what it's called?
It's not called the motorbike, but I haven't decided what it's called.
Dang.
It's called Gladys.
I'll be with Gladys.
Oh, come on. You can stand behind me looking all intimidating with that frowny face of yours. We'll get through this much quicker.
Tom, what's your AC?
Oh. 12!
She just sort of like gently punches you in the shoulder and says like, "I will be with Gladys." Just like a dead arm situation.
Balak will head back. I guess they'll part ways at the stables, and he'll head to. I don't know. I guess I know where Fitzpatrick lives, right?
I think at the time, I think we're going to say it's maybe like 3 p.m.
Okay, cool.
So quite middle of the day. Fitzpatrick would be at work. He works at the customs office in kind of like the center of town.
I'm definitely not going there. So I guess I know, but do I know where his homestead is?
Yeah, I think he would also be pretty central.
Ah, right. Okay. What does his home look like then?
So Malton is a reasonably like cobbled little town. A lot of it's very much like wood and stone structures, stone from the hills to the east of this place, and then obviously it's a lumber town.
Yes.
It's a pretty well off town. So Fitzpatrick has in essence a small like apartment in a building, in a apartment sort of building that's very quite. It's a large stone and wood structure.
Okay.
And yeah, it's very central.
Okay. So like, if I'm stood nearby, is it particularly busy?
I think as you approach the area, it's not just busy; it's screamingly busy.
Oh, balls!
Like there are not just like it's not. We're not talking. Like, oh, it's a busy day. We're talking a crowd is forming around something in the central square of the town.
Okay. I think I'll use prestidigitation to sort of muck my face up a bit and kind of hide my features, so I keep it dark under the hood, and then move into the crowd to see what's going on.
Okay. You kind of like bump your way through the crowd, making it a little bit centrally. And as you get closer and closer to the center, you can hear a figure on the stage. He's a well-dressed man, quite just a little bit portly, with kind of like a balding crown of hair and like a twirly mustache, a very like slick, greasy twirly mustache, and he's dressed in finery. Like we're talking like silks and velvets and like bright elegant reds and purples that like his outfit clashes horribly, but it's that sort of like, I'm so expensive it doesn't matter that I clash.
Okay.
And he's got a decree, one of these big like rolly scrolls that he's reading from, and he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen,
oh god,
today, we rid ourselves of a menace, with the promise that I, Baron Alden, will protect this land from other sorts of trouble." That was not the same German accent right at the end there.
Remember when I said, sorry, France? Sorry, Germany.
This voice was... I want to just take credit. This voice is not my decision.
Oh.
On the stage next to him, there is a chopping block and an executioner, and there is a figure bent over the block, and you recognize your friend Fitzpatrick.
Oh gosh. Okay, that's not good.
You don't say.
Right.
I think while you're thinking, the Baron continues his speech. He's not done. This nomis rogue. That's French. What am I doing?
Rogue.
I'm rogue. This rogue Pierre. How do you do German accent? Someone go.
Visits catch their spells by using their acquired magical knowledge augmented by their intelligence score. I'm just reading the Wikipedia page I've got open.
This rogue, he This gnomish gentleman, this gnomish rogue. No, what the fuck? I can't say rogue in a European accent without rolling the R.
Scotland.
This gnomish thief, this monster, he is a non-associate of the one that we call Phelak. How do you react to that, Tom?
Bollocks.
Phelak is wanted for multiple crimes upon the road. He is a thief, unlike any other. He has robbed so many caravans, and this gnome is a non-associate.
Right.
And non-associates of thieves are not tolerated.
You are trying so hard not to have to say rogue.
Yeah, because that's
Not
This guy is a thief, Ed.
I
He's a thief.
I think at this point the executioner kind of hefts a big axe over one shoulder and kind of turns. The sentence for associating with the criminal Phelak is death.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Fair enough, I'm very important.
And the axe is swung
No,
down.
wait, hang on, but you didn't give me I was waiting for him to finish his monologue. This is going to be a cavalcade of spells to pull this off, but let's go for it. So, first off, I'm casting Dancing Lights on a nearby rooftop. I can create 4 torch-sized lights and hover in the air, or I can make them appear as a glowing humanoid shape.
And then go, look, it's Phelark!
Yep! Which I'm going to aid by casting Minor Illusion to just make some voices throughout the crowd be shouting, "Oh hey, it's Phelark, I can see him up there! Yeah, that's the guy, he robbed my wife!" And all this stuff.
I don't think you have to say he robbed my wife. I think that one, I think he was a gnome from the first episode. He's like, he robbed my wife!
I'm picking other voices as well. I heard Phelark shredded. I heard Phelark's got an 8-pack.
I heard Phelark's got a 9-pack!
Wasn't the people he robbed in the first episode halflings?
Yes, they
Oh,
were.
racist. All short races look the same, eh?
I think that, the distraction goes off without a hitch. And I think that the Baron kind of says, "Somebody catch that criminal!"
Catch that pigeon!
Oh, wow.
That's a pro. That's a pro. And I think he kind of squints up and says, "Phelak, we will get you. But in the meantime, I'm French again."
In the meantime, I'm going to kill your friend first.
It's just Attack of the French in this episode.
Phelark, I'm going to use one of my new spells and cast Invisibility on myself.
Ooh.
I want to sneak next to Fitzpatrick, ideally.
I think you bump your way up towards the stage, but I think it's not before. I think you're still slowed down enough by the crowd. The Baron kind of is like, "Phelak, this is what happens to people who associate with you." And he claps his hand, and just as you're approaching the stage, the executioner swings the axe downwards.
Oh, balls.
Do you want to do anything before, remembering that will break invisibility, before the axe hits?
Gonna have to. Chaos Bolt at the executioner, I guess.
Okay, go for it.
Oh shit. That's only a 14.
Okay, and do your damage.
That is 12.
Tom, give me an investigation check.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh, 19.
I think your spell connects. You're at the side of the stage. I think there's an instinctive kind of cry of no, right? Dramatic, breaking invisibility, hand outstretched, casting this bolt of just warbling energy. Yeah. It hits the axe of the executioner dead on, but the axe doesn't stop, and it swings down onto Fitzpatrick, and Fitzpatrick's head just rolls to the floor.
Oh no.
I think that you freeze for a second. Obviously at this point you just revealed yourself. The crowd is kind of in chaos, but time slows down for you. And you come to this sort of realization, this brief second, where you're like, something isn't right here at all.
Okay.
You can't put your finger on what it is. I think that you hear like this gentle shattering sound just at your feet. Phalark, you started to cry just a little bit, and your tears are turning into glass after they leave your eyes.
Okay. Okay.
So, just to clarify, the homebrew Sorcerer's Origin that we are using for Tom has things called Fey Visage. It lets me add random little quirks to his character whenever stuff happens related to him. And one of them is your tears instantly turn to glass after leaving your eyes. And I think that's a good one to have here.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
All hell breaks loose. And I think you kind of stumble backwards into the crowd and you hear Baron Audern be like, "Somebody catch him!" You get kind of like turned around a lot in the crowd and suddenly you don't really know which direction you're facing. Yeah. As some people are like pushing and tugging at you and you feel something rub up against your legs.
Uh-oh.
It's furry.
I look down.
There is a golden retriever at your feet. And it's kind of like looking at you intently and kind of like nodding its head as if it wants you to follow it.
Okay. So is this whole crowd just kind of like focusing its attention on me and trying to grab hold of me now?
I think there's like chaos going on. You don't really understand what's happening.
Okay.
Some people are still distracted by your distraction. Some people are shocked by the fact that they've just witnessed, an execution. Okay. Some people are kind of grabbing at you, but there's definitely still something really off about this whole scene that you can't put your finger on.
He's going to instinctively just cast fly on himself.
You have fly?
Yeah, he does.
And I'm going to leap from the crowd.
I think as you fly, definitely people are pointing and yelling, "It's Phalark! It's Phalark!"
Yeah, I think I'll probably lose the cloak dramatically and stuff.
Woof.
God, yeah, you do. You fucking overdramatic twat.
Yep. Hey, you just killed my friend, like my only other friend character in front of me. I can be dramatic.
And I think, you soar over the wall. And I think as you're flying, one, you see the dog is still very much like following you.
Yeah.
And two, you see Theb on the other side of the crowd. She definitely notices you and she definitely like starts to move.
Right, okay.
Where do you fly?
I'm is gonna just nosedive into the tree line and sort of just bolt.
Hey everybody, welcome to the middle bit. Right, let's get on with it, shall we? So first things first, I have to thank the last of our test episode testers today. Thank you to my buddy Andy for listening to the episode. He donated his name to Baron Audern, the guy of indeterminate accent that I've just done. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry for that one. I also just want to quickly take a moment to say this is going to be another long one. I don't know if this is going to be a running pattern for our Caravan Sleepover episodes, but just with this one, with a lot of individual character scenes, it does wind up being, there's not much room for cutting, and we record for about 2.5 hours every time we record an episode, so usually I just find enough junk to take out, but with this one, it seems like we got some good comedy gold in there, and I'm quite happy with it. We now want to, of course, take this time to plug our social medias. You can follow us on Twitter at Wackaroll, or on Instagram, also at Wackaroll, or you can send us emails at wackaroll@gmail.com. If you put your name into any of those, we will make you an NPC in the game. Yay! We actually have one of those, our very first comment NPC coming up later this episode. So thank you very much to Puppercorn Dan for his comment that he left on iTunes for that. Your character is on the way. Anyway, that's all I really got today, so thank you very much for listening, and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of the episode. Yeah, I think that you bolt and you run for maybe like 5 minutes straight in a straight line, and eventually you're in like unknown territory in this like marsh, like this marshland area.
Yeah.
And you stop to catch your breath, and then you hear sort of like a gentle plodding from behind, and it's the golden retriever, and it sits down at your feet and just looks up at you and pants.
I think by this point, Phalak's probably just like on his ass in the mud. Just sort of collect, rather than like a graceful landing, he's probably like tumbled through some of the bracken and stuff. And it's still gonna have, there's still probably like flecks of glass and stuff on his shirt, and I can't imagine they like stick to his face or anything. I don't know. What's he gonna say? He's just gonna stare at the dog with a confused expression, still panting and obviously still very upset.
Yeah, and I think the dog looks back at you, and it's like, "Hey,
What?
Hello?
hi, are you my best friend?"
Oh God, I hate this.
I really don't think so.
I think the dog kind of like, the dog stands up on his hind legs,
Gross.
like kind of like stretches out a little bit, and it's got like a much more like humanoid frame than it probably should have. Like with its arm, like its top two legs still like dangling downwards like a dog's legs would, but just like a little bit more out to the sides than is probably comfortable.
Okay.
And like it's still like panting with his tongue out, and he's like, "You're Phalark."
Yeah, I would think that's pretty evident given circumstances.
I'm Dan.
Oh
Oh
no.
God, you fucking.
Oh god.
No, you're not.
Hey. Dun,
I
dun,
think-
dun, 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 dun. 7.
I think Phalak's just as confused by this as the rest of us are. Can I call you Dan?
No.
Oh.
Well, welcome to the world of yes ending.
Okay.
No, but.
No, just no.
Alright then. Why did you follow me out here?
Just like, 'cause we're best friends.
I really don't understand where you're getting this idea from, but I'm really not
We
in the
were
mood for
always
it.
best friends.
If you weren't paying attention, I just watched somebody that I care about get murdered in front of a crowd of people. Not for the first time in my life, I might add.
Ooh, backstories.
I think Dan tilts his head to the
Were you counting on your fingers as you did that?
Yes, he was. You know it.
Oh. We can't wait till it's on the wiki.
By the way, I just want to make sure it's all one word, but every Dan is capitalized.
Oh.
Great. It's gonna be real easy to type out.
Yup.
People are going to look for this on the wiki and it's going to be like, they'll just type Dan. And they'll go, did you mean Dan?
I want, when we have a wiki, can we please just have someone make that page that's called Dan, and just the entire Wikipedia article for Dan is, there is no Dan?
No, it's just a redirect.
No, it's just a page that says no, there is no redirect. You have to type it in.
Okay.
Dan.
Get
Face
it
the
right.
truth.
We were always best friends, Phalark. And I think he kind of like makes like a small like dog whimper. He's like, "Do you not remember me?"
I think you're confused. I really don't know who you are.
I'm not confused. You're Phalark. We grew up together.
I guess, that Phalark's going to be confused himself again because so I don't really remember growing up.
I think Dan kind of like
Can I write it as a? Can we just write it as a mathematical?
Dan to the power of 7?
It's like 7
Yeah,
Dan.
it'll be down to the power of 7.
yeah, Dan to the power of 7 is also acceptable
Because
because
they're,
it's equally.
they're all next to each other, because they're being multiplied. 7 Dan would be you're saying Dan and Dan
Oh
and
my
Dan
God.
and Dan and Dan. That's when you've got separate Dans,
Hang on, I
but
can't-
they're all together, so it's multiplied.
It'd be that, but the 7 would
Wait,
be
but
smaller.
Dan-
No, no,
Hang on,
no,
I can't remember. I can't remember how bid maths works.
how you do it when you don't have a power sign is like so you write Dan,
It's the up
the
arrow.
little up arrow, then 7, because
Yeah.
then that says to the power of, and that's
Even I know
how programming recognises powers.
If you don't remember growing up, I can take you home.
Oh.
Well, do you want to go home?
I don't know. Where is home?
Follow me! And he just starts, he gets back on all fours, and he starts to plod through the swamp again. And he kind of like, he gets to like the edge of the tree line, and he kind of like looks back, he's like, come on!
Does it at least lead away from the crowd of people baying for my blood that are probably heading this way this very moment?
Dan to the power of 7 nods excitedly.
Lead the way.
And yeah, you follow Dan through the trees, and it's maybe only for like 2-3 minutes, but the path that you are taking is so not a path. It ducks and weaves to the point where you're pretty confident that multiple times during this, like, 5 minutes or so, you loop back on yourself. That you've gone through these areas before, but in an odd spiral pattern, until you arrive in a clearing. And this clearing, unlike the usual like brown bogginess of this swampy area, it's very lush and green. And in the center of it, there's a ring of red and white speckled mushrooms, a perfect circle.
Fading.
And Dan looks up. He was like, "Just step in."
Now, I see what this is. I see what this is. Look, very funny. I get it. I'm in a vulnerable position, likely to make silly deals or have some dumb ideas, but you think I've not heard of a fairy ring.
And Dan stops and looks at you and goes, "Get in, come on."
Listen, I hang around with this little kid that tries to pull the puppy dog things all the time. It ain't gonna work here.
Dan starts to growl. And he starts to stand back up and he's like, Come on, Phalark. We're friends.
Nice, doggy.
And
pulls his wand. I don't want to use this.
You start to...
But I've had a day.
Could you give me a dexterity saving throw, please?
Bap him on the nose. Tell him he's been
Oh, fuck. 4.
You go to reach for your wand, but Dan to the power 7 pounces. And he knocks you to the ground, and he winds up like pinning you to the...
So you had the opportunity to have him fetch the wand, and you didn't take it, is what you're saying?
He's not talking anymore. He's just growling and barking at you with this like maw of like slavering teeth.
Bad dog.
He growls, and then there's a flash of color as something barges into Dan to the power 7's like side and knocks him off.
Gonna sort of pull myself to my feet. I knew I was never a dog person.
Is it Theb? Or is it me from another universe? Because I'm not having this shit.
There is another creature, another animal in this clearing with you.
Oh boy.
Tom, would you like to describe it for me, please?
Oh, goody!
What?
When Sphalak gets to his feet, he is shocked for a moment to see something more gaudily and more colourful in their attire than even he is. What's stood there is a above average sized peacock.
Wow.
Wearing a small pair of dark round sunglasses perched on its beak.
You didn't tell me about the sunglasses, Tom.
Yeah, but I told me about them, so it's,
That's all that matters.
that's what was on the doodle I did.
I don't think Euripides says anything yet, but instead, like, I think Euripides looks back at you, like, kind of flicks his head forward a little bit, so the sunglasses like slide down his beak a little bit, makes eye contact with you, flicks them back up, just as Dan stands back up, and the two of them like scrap it out in like really obviously like animalistic ways.
How does a peacock fight?
I don't know.
Yeah, definitely more of a bird guy.
I'm here to protect you. And then just sort of like turns back to the dog. Dan kind of like goes to pounce. Euripides kind of sidesteps and headbutts the dog into the fairy ring.
Yeah.
And with that, the dog just sort of like puffs into smoke. There's like a gentle like summer breeze, even though it's like winter.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, it's
he
winter.
vanishes.
This is news.
Guys, you should know that. It's Darmanthia.
Oh, God.
Thank you.
I can live with that.
And I think that Euripides kind of like looks at you and goes like, "We can't talk, but what I can say is that I'm here when you need me." And he kind of like bows his head a little bit, and from the ground upwards he starts to kind of like dissolve into feathers.
Like big fancy peacock feathers. Wait, what? You can't talk? What? Where did you come from?
I think he kind of looks up and says, "You'll know in time, but I come from a friend." And then he kind of like swept up in this wave of feathers, and as every feather connects with the ground, it turns into a blade of grass.
Oh, okay.
And just as the last feather drops, Theb comes bursting through the clearing and says, "I can smell them." What are you doing, Phalark?
I think he sort of quite quickly kind of regains his composure. At least puts on in front of it and says, "Why, you don't happen to have a dog allergy or anything?"
And she just goes, "Dog? What are you talking about, Phalark?"
Never mind, had to be there, I suppose. Shall we get on? I don't think there's much point in staying here anymore by the sounds of things.
She definitely is like... Theb is not just like... You've seen Theb angry at you. Theb is like shaking with just like rage right now.
Oh.
She just stares at you intently and says, "We are leaving."
That is what I said, isn't it? Chop chop.
And I think when you start to talk there, she just instantly cuts him and says, "Shut the fuck up, we're leaving, go."
Ooh, that wasn't very nice.
This is going to be a very frosty ride home.
And I think with that, we cut to Yaga.
Yay!
So-
We've had Steven Spielberg's Philippe. We've had Highwaymen of the Caribbean. Now we're having Golden Girl.
Yay. This is great.
I have fiddled with my mic volume, so if I...
Okay, so Yaga, your scene's probably the hardest one to write in terms of like what we're doing. So first things first, are you going to take anyone from the caravan with you?
I don't know. What is the name of the... what did you call him? The Forge Master?
Iskar.
Iskar. And you said... Well, you said Forge Master. Is he a blacksmith or an armorer?
I think that he's just like an all-around like metallurger. He can do weapons, he can do armor.
Right, but I need someone who can do not metal, is my thing.
I think that like Iskar is mostly metal, but like I also get druid, and I don't want to like cut you out of that side of obviously things. So yeah.
Yeah, I lost my AC when I was forced to be nude in a library, so...
Why did you do that?
Oh man, fucking... you just can't resist the urge, huh?
Kids these days.
Fucking kids.
Yeah, so do you want to take Iskar with you?
I'll take Iskar with me, and because like I'm like we can. I have essentially one thing to do. That's pack up my hut and tell Sholly not to go there anymore. And on the way we can pick up some hides.
Okay, so you take Iskar up north with you, and I think that like how do you want to travel? I just gave the other two. How do you want to travel, Al?
Well, if Iskar wasn't here, I would go deer it because it's faster than humaning. But now thinking on it, see, I should have picked Warhorse, but I didn't. Could you ride an elk?
Not comfortably, but yeah.
I think you could get a saddle for an elk. They're not that much bigger than horses, are they?
It doesn't fit well, and it's loose on you. But I think that like
yeah. So I'm gonna go elk, and just to be clear, when I say elk, I mean European elk, which is a moose. Just to get that out there, because somebody will be like, "Oh, an elk's not even that big." Yes, they are, because it's a moose.
Yeah, I think that you travel, and I think that Iskar kind of like converses with you a little while you're riding, but then like
I cannot respond.
That's exactly it. It's like Iskar's like,
yeah.
I guess it's nice weather we're having, and then it's like, I guess. And yeah, so you travel in silence, and I think you're the one traveling the furthest because you're traveling from, in essence, like the south right to the north, and it takes maybe a day and a half at the speed you go. I think as you ride past Moulton, you see there's a lot of commotion and wanted posters up with a pretty bad drawing of Phalark that you totally recognize as a drawing of Phalark.
Just can't get his nose right.
And yeah, eventually you make it to your hut. And
Hey.
I think it's late when you arrive. I think maybe Iskar has agreed that he'll like just camp outside of it for the night, and then you'll leave in the morning once you've got all your like affairs in order. So through the night, what specifically are you doing while you're here?
Through the night, I don't imagine I'm doing much, cause like other than if I could get word to Sholly to get here as soon as possible.
Get to here.
Or, well, no, because I've got crazy cultists chasing me. Hang on, I have to count. Cause I now, we just leveled up, guys. I now have the spell prepared, by the way, because I have every spell. Where is it? I think it's second level. Yes, Skywrite. And I get max 10 words. So if I can, like, write in the clouds, like, Sholly, stay the fuck away. I'm sorry, I'll get your prescription sorted, Yaga. Then I think that's the most likely way she is to see me, because she might be out fucking sailing.
I absolutely love that. I don't think we need the exact the exact wording of it. I think you create a message enough that it is legible and you know it will get to her. I don't think this is like I know that you've just leveled to a point where you can have this spell, but I like to think that maybe like if you spent longer channeling it, you could have cast it previously.
Well, no, when we started, I could have had this spell.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that's fantastic. So yeah,
It's second level.
okay, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think that you've known how to do this for a while, and it's how you communicate with a lot of your patrons.
Excellent.
So I have a lot of questions. I have some questions about, in essence, what this hut means to you, because I think the important thing to talk about now is that this was not always your hut, was it?
It belonged to my mentor during what we'll call a cruel tutelage, because I just love Kill Bill. When I went through my training to become one with nature, I was forced to always be in nature. And my mentor, Yaga, as she was known then, got to stay in the hut and enjoy, inside life.
Inside life, yes.
Yeah.
It's warm. There's a fire there. It doesn't get blown about by the wind.
So in the time before you inherited the hut itself, where did you stay?
The hut. Where did I establish this again? It's just out in like a fucking plain field, eh?
We agreed it was like a little wooded area.
Okay, well, I'm alright with staying in the woods.
Yeah, I think that maybe there was a clearing nearby with maybe like an old oak tree. That was kind of like I just like old oak trees and druids, they go together hand in hand.
Oh yeah, get a little lean-to, some hides, make it home.
Yeah, and I think that you very much spent a lot of your time out there, and I think that you spend the night getting your affairs in order, like packing up a lot of like loose bottles and just various ingredients that you've used during your time that you're like, this might be useful.
Poultices, herbs. Honestly, this just popped into my head, so I'm pulling it entirely out my ass. Since her mentor stepped down, seemingly from the position, Yaga entered the hut, kind of just didn't know how to make it her own, because she felt like she would be intruding still on her mentor's space. It's like, I can't, this isn't home. Outside is home, but but it's my time to live here.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot emotionally attaching herself to it except her old teacher.
I think especially with this kind of I think the morning comes around. I think we skip the night, we get to the morning. And I think that, Iskar is kind of he's got some hides and he's made up a few carry bags for Moose Yaga.
I've got a hide as my bedspread. I've got a hide rug in front of the fire, and I don't care about them. They can be armor now. Hooray!
But your stealth isn't that great. But you got a lot of hide.
Shut up.
And yeah, I think that you're just getting ready to pack up, and I think that maybe the memory that you've just kind of shared with us, this idea that this hut was never home, makes you kind of want to go out and see what was home for so long for you here, this little clearing. And I think you are walking towards the clearing when... Can you give me a perception check, please?
Ruh-roh. Perception is on wisdom, so that's 18.
It hits you really hard. It hits you hard because it's the sort of smell that living in a forest, you have trained yourself to notice because it's dangerous. You smell smoke coming from up ahead, specifically the clearing that you are aiming to go towards.
No. I run. I hobble. No, I'm run. I only pretend to be feeble.
I think you kind of like you're not even worrying that Iskar might be close enough to see you drop the facade.
Yeah.
You just sprint towards this tree, and as you arrive into this clearing, the old oak tree is burning, and in front of it there is an elven child just kind of staring up at it.
I specifically prepared this for this exact moment. Where is it? Yes! Detect magic.
You cast detect magic?
Yes.
Detect magic. For the duration, 10 minutes, you sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object. You don't need to use, and you learn the school.
Okay.
So, first of all...
Well, it's probably evocation.
The school's evocation, which, for those of us not initiated, is just kind of like the generic elemental magic kind of damaging
Boost,
thing.
fire, bloom.
And you don't need to use an action or anything like that to realize where it is, because not only do you find magic, but you recognize the magic. It's a name that plays on your tongue. A name that you're sure you've never heard before, but you know it for certain. It's like one of those memories that you only experience when you experience something. I think a sensory thing, so like a memory that pulls you back from a song. And the child, they're young and elven with like this kind of like playful mop of like sandy blonde hair and these bright wide blue eyes and long ears and like a chip in one of their front buck teeth, kind of turns to you and they beam and they go, "This Yaga is old."
Well, that's a very rude thing to say.
And they kind of look at you and say, "Are we going to play Yaga like we used to?"
I'm gonna point to the tree and just say, "Why?"
Because that's what I do.
You have a bad son.
Why? I did not inherit this child. I take no ownership.
The name that is playing on your mouth, it's gross. You know that it's not something that you trust. It's a name that you fear. It's Orthrus.
That means nothing to me as a person.
Just so everyone knows, that's spelled Orthrus. Orthrus.
Right.
I think Orthrus takes a step towards you, and when they do,
I take a step back.
And when their foot, they're not wearing shoes. They're wearing like very like raggy, kind of like very simple linen shirt and trousers. When their barefoot hits the grass burns away, leaving an ashy patch beneath their foot. They walk on tiptoes. Like the first step is cautious, but you know that sort of game that people play where they kind of like, especially with children, where they take once, or animals even, where they take a step, they pause, and then they kind of like take 2 or 3 steps quickly. And
yes, I've had a cat before.
they do that, kind of like, and when they do the first like batch of small steps, their feet become paws, and then they lean forwards, and they are an adult panther with these fiery red eyes, this ash black fur, and from its mouth just like little licks of flame burst out, and the panther pounces.
How long do I get to jump out the way?
What do you do?
In an open container, you can create up to 10 gallons of drinkable water. I don't care that it's drinkable. You may also produce a rain that falls within a 30-foot cube and extinguishes open-air flames. Ooh, I want to do that. You can destroy the same amount of water in an open container, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna produce a rain.
A rain?
Yes, and hopefully that reaches far enough to include the oak tree, because it puts out fire.
Okay. The rain definitely reaches the oak tree.
Huzzah!
I think that what happens first is it hits the panther, and the panther kind of reels backwards like, "This yaga no fun," and kind of like paws at its face, uncomfortably, like visibly, horribly uncomfortable by this. And then the rain hits the tree. I think it kind of like spirals out, and when it hits the tree, the fire does not go out.
You fucking bitch.
Everything else around it, as the fire was starting to spread, extinguishes. But the fire in this tree does not.
Oh my god! It's God!
Ow.
He's here!
Fuck you, it's my religion!
I think that as the rain washes away what fire it can, you realize that the fire originates from inside the tree.
No, what's happening? I don't know if I want to kill this kid, because it's a kid. But this kid's freaking me out. It's not, I want to frog. I want to frog.
Yeah, tell us about this frog.
Okay, well, giant frog, because I couldn't decide between frog or crocodile. So I picked the middle, which is giant frog.
Like the idea that you've got crocodiles and frogs, and your middle ground is just to make the frog bigger. And actually, now I'm thinking about it, I totally just agree.
Yeah. I mean, if you saw the stats, you'd understand.
I think that Orthrus kind of like shakes their ferns like, "Now we play properly, Yaga," and tries to pounce again.
Okay, Panther, yeah, we're both fucking medium, so I can't swallow it. But I can still bite it.
Okay, give me the attack roll.
Too many pages. That's only an 11.
I don't think that connects. Like, you kind of like try to bite the panther, and the panther kind of like tries to make a swipe at you, but both attacks just sort of like harmlessly bounce off one another, and then like the panther kind of like jumps backwards, like, "This is more like it, Yaga. This is fun." And
Why can they talk? I can't.
I think that they get ready to pounce again, but then they stop. Their ears twitch, and they look around them, and they're like, then they look really sad, in that sort of like sad cat way. Like, you know, ears down, and they're like, "I'm sorry, Yaga, this was really fun, but I have to go."
Oh.
And then the panther leaps off into the forest, and you hear them shapeshift again as they do, and see the child run off into the forest, like faster than you can imagine, until they turn...
Killing plants all the way.
They turn to smoke and vanish.
Don't like that. It takes another use of this spell to turn back into a human, so I'm gonna just stay frog, and that'll wear off in 2 hours.
Yeah, you hop back to the clearing where there's just fucking... Iskar's like, why are you a frog? I'm not riding a frog. Hey everybody, thanks for listening to this episode of Whack-A-Roll. So that will conclude our first Caravan Sleepover. I do apologise for these episodes being a little bit longer. We'll try to maybe see if we can shorten them down for the next time. Join us again in 2 weeks' time, where we'll be starting our next arc, which has currently not got a name because I am sitting here jumping between like 5 or 6. Do you know what? I'm going to lock it down. Next arc, Whack-A-Roll Vagabonds, The Bell Tolls. We want to thank you again for listening. Please remember to subscribe to us on whatever you are listening to this on, and also leave us any comments anywhere you can. We're on Twitter at Whack-A-Roll, Instagram at Whack-A-Roll, and we have an email address, whackaroll@gmail.com. We also want to thank everyone who has helped us out with the test episode, whose names have been used in the last couple of episodes. Today, of course, we had Andy with Baron Outern, and we had our first commenter, Danny, with Dan. We will see you in 2 weeks for our next episode. Until then, stay happy, everybody. We'll see you then.